Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. A lot of developments across the country, and we are going to be touching on a couple of important topics today. The NED and its role, National Endowment for Democracy. This is a US arm. Is it something that is covertly or overtly extending its tentacles across India? It seems to have had a role in Bangladesh. Number one. Number two, Manipur is on the boil again, this time in a much more diabolical way. We're going to touch upon that and also a couple of other things. I am surprising this even to Savio. Savio, I'll take a minute or two after you're done with your stuff to update what is happening in Tamil Nadu. Big revelations. Let's first welcome Savio Rodrigues. Before that, please like this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Savio, namaskar and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘁𝘁's channel. How are you?
Namaskar, and thank you for having invited me once again. Always a pleasure to be on your channel, Sree.
Thank you, Savio. See, you are doing human service in terms of trying to bring out all these, hidden aspects of what has been happening in Bangladesh, as well as how this is spreading itself in India also. And people seem to be still, in some sort of a denial that somebody halfway across the world can have so much effect. I have done a couple of monologues about the role of the members in the US consulate who are meeting with journalists in various consulates, and there are confirmed payments also done, and all this doesn't bode well for a democracy like United States. It cannot preach other democracies when it indulges in such underhanded, allegedly, activity. So, Savio, talk to us a little bit about how you stumbled upon this NED and its role in overt as well as covert manner in both Bangladesh and perhaps India, and who knows, Pakistan too.
Sree, as you know, a large part of me works with my intelligence network in most parts of the world, including India. And we keep our eye on most activities that are happening around the world geopolitically. And we also, most importantly, look at impacts that impact India. Now, when we looked at the conflict in Bangladesh, we've been looking at it ever since Sheik Hasina made the statement of a white man at her party program and spoke about how they were trying to impress upon her to give them the St. Martin's Island in order for them to have a military and a naval base in the region. And so on and so forth, she went on. At that point of time, while most intelligence networks around the world were alert, not many were confident that the US would orchestrate the Bangladesh coup. But it started with the protest got larger, and then you had Sheikh Hasina having to leave Bangladesh, come to India in order to save her life and that of her family. Then you had Mohd Yunus, who was a known puppet of the CIA, to now be the head of the interim government in Bangladesh at this point of time. What does Mohd Yunus do? Mohd Yunus, a banned organization like Jamaat Islamiyah, he ensures that they're no longer banned anymore. You had an Al-Qaeda terror operative who was in jail. Mohd Yunus's interim government has released him from jail as well. You had many activities by US diplomats prior to the Bangladesh coup happening in Bangladesh itself. Now, let me tell you of this one particular overt organization of the US administration. The CIA is primarily the executing arm of decisions or intent of the US State Department and the Pentagon. And everyone in the intelligence network knows that the CIA is the covert arm of the US State Department and Pentagon. But there is an overt arm, suppose it in your face, but does it very subtly. And that overt arm is the National Endowment for Democracy. It is based in Washington, D.C. Now, the National Endowment for Democracy, or NED, was very, very instrumental in Bangladesh in generating the kind of narrative that is required at a ground level to orchestrate a coup. Because you need people to be disheartened, disillusioned, and aggressive in their intent to protest and to take on the government. So the NED works with political influencers, works with media influencers, works with social media influencers, and works with NGOs to try and build a narrative of the United States administration in favor of the United States administration. Something very similar to the International Liaison Department of the Communist Party of China. So NED will work with people from the field of academics, from the field of media, from the field of politics, from the field of business, from the field of any influential factor that is required to spread a narrative or to control a narrative or to institute or create a narrative against a particular entity or country. Now, this is not the first time they've done it. They've tried to do it in Iran, they've done it in Philippines, they've done it in places of Middle East, and you will see there is a pattern. So NED is known to be the overt operator of the United States Department, and it reports directly to the President of the United States. Go ahead, you had a
Savio,
question.
yeah, a couple of things. The regime change that we are talking about, Bangladesh is today, but Imran Khan was also a regime change that was engineered by the United States. There was a website out of United States that leaked a letter that has been written by the same person that you are mentioning, or rather, you were hinting that Sheik Hasina was mentioning. This is the person who wrote that letter. Essentially, what I would call is reading the riot act, and then Imran Khan was gone. So this regime change as a South Asia bloc, right? The only unfinished business now is India. We don't know what kind of machinations are happening in Sri Lanka and Nepal and in Maldives, where US, at least so far, we have not seen their hand. But these are all small, potatoes. The whole idea appears to be to try and bring about a regime change in India, and they see this as their moment. Particularly since the polls don't read what MSM is saying. The actual situation on the ground is not looking very good for the Democrats, because they probably have drawn so much outside the lines that any Republican government will be able to, who knows how. It depends on how aggressively a Trump administration would go after all the painting outside the lines that has been done by the outgoing administration. Let's leave it for now. But what I wanted to mention, viewers, we all forget so fast. Imran Khan, why he was dismissed. In fact, he was speaking the truth in one of the rallies, I think it was in Lahore, where he was waving a sheet of paper saying that the US wants me out. He was actually waving the same paper that came out a few months later on a website about this certain person who wrote this letter. So India needs to be much more careful and cautious to see and make sure that nothing untoward happens. And there are some new disturbing developments in Manipur. We'll come to that in just a moment. But again, a request to all of you to please like this video if you're not already liked it. The traffic, the amount of viewers that we have is so less compared to the import of what we are bringing to you. Savio, over to you. My question to you is, NED, how is it actually able to bring the money in? Is it through shell corporations? Is it still being investigated? Because India has a fairly robust FCRA where they are looking at all these things very, very closely.
So the NED was its activities was under watch from 2016 onwards, and NED continues to remain under watch primarily after the heightened exposure of NED in Bangladesh. So the government is keeping a very close watch on NED at this point of time. but funding operations of money coming into India to orchestrate any sort of regime change. Let me give you what they have in mind. See, they want a very weak India, Sri. They want a very, very weak India, because a weak India allows for them to bring about the deep state intent that they want within the Indian subcontinent and within South Asia and Southeast Asia. If you see, even in Indonesia right now, there is an activity that NED is working on to try and create trouble for the government in Indonesia right now. This intent of NED is to strengthen the US intent in the region. Now, what was it that they wanted from Bangladesh? The real game in Bangladesh was the St. Martin's Island. The St. Martin's Island, according to them, was to keep a hold on activities in the Indian subcontinent. While many in the mainstream media speak about the fact that it was working to thwart the China hegemony in the region, the real target was actually India, because from the St. Martin's Island, you will be able to foment trouble using the Islamic radicals that are growing strong in Bangladesh at this point of time in towards India. You have Pakistan that has been at a very subtle and open, sometimes open war with India, using terrorism as an instrument. You have Maldives that has almost most of the terror operatives that moved out of Pakistan and made Maldives their hub. So you have terror activities that are sprucing up in Sri Lanka as well. So you have the operatives moving around in an effort to box India. But India's threat, the threat to India, will come from within India. It is a trouble that will foment within India in the next 12 months, because they need to have a regime change, or they will find a way to ensure that this government bends out to its demands. Now, I personally know that this government will not, but the fact is that they will continue to attempt. So, if the government does not bend to its demands, they will look at a regime change, and they will go after the two alliance partners and more. There is absolutely no need for US diplomats, when the Jammu and Kashmir elections were announced, for them to start go meeting people. In fact, let me give you some new details, though they have to get confirmed in terms of actual realization of it. But Rahul Gandhi is traveling to the US. Rahul Gandhi on the 8th will be in Dallas, but on the 9th and the 10th, he's going to be in Washington, D.C. Our intelligence sources tell us that there is a likely schedule of meetings with the white man that Sheik Hasina referred to in Washington, D.C. There is going to be a meeting with Alex Soros. Alex Soros is the son and the heir apparent for the Soros empire, and George Soros' son, right? Third, and most important, he would be meeting with the NED representatives. And all this will be organized, especially the NED meeting, through a division of the NED called CIPE. And this is supposed to happen on the 9th or the 10th in Washington, D.C. Why would Rahul Gandhi need to meet them? What is Rahul Gandhi's intent? Their intent, I'm saying this and I'm telling the government through your YouTube channel, that there is an imminent danger of America working towards a plan that was similar to Bangladesh. Whether they are successful or not is a matter of time, but their intent cannot be discounted. They are looking at a regime change in India, or bending the current dispensation to their demands. Now, what is triggering this? This is triggered by the relationship that is being forged and cemented between India and Russia. India is also opening up to China, though they are a little alert. There is some activity, some peaceful steps ahead that has been working with China. This is something that is not sitting well with the United States. The United States wants to play big brother to India. They want India to be a vassal state. That is exactly how they look at India. That is how they want India to be. And to do that, they will foment trouble of all kinds. And NED's major functionality or strategy has been color revolutions in the countries where they have had an impact. In India, it will not be a color revolution. In India, it will be a caste revolution coupled with what I see as a creed revolution. So they will create caste conflict in India, and Modi will have to work towards seeing that the caste conflict that they plan, the trouble that they plan, is thwarted right at the start rather than it going a little further and creating an even bigger mess that the US wants to do in India. For that, they will use the opposition parties. And Rahul Gandhi's intent on caste, Rahul Gandhi's focus on caste, Rahul Gandhi is going to the level of talking about Miss India on caste, is an indication that the caste revolution is exactly their card. They know they can strike at India through caste and creed. Creed, they believe, by playing out the minorities in danger. And that is why organizations like FIACONA, USCIRF, and other such organizations have been talking about minorities being in danger, particularly the Christian minority. The Manipur flare up, which we are seeing right now, is based on that same premise that the Christian minorities will be in danger. But the flare up in Manipur, I'm saying it again, there is a foreign hand to the flare up in Manipur. It has gone past an ethnic conflict. It has gone past what they would wanted to portray as a religious conflict. Now it is moving into what I see as a transnational conspiracy. And one of the reasons that Sheikh Hasina spoke about was the formation of a Christian nation carved out of Manipur, Mizoram, areas in Bangladesh and the Chinkuki state, the Chin state, so that you would have a Christian nation sandwiched between two Islamic nations and a Hindu majority nation. And that's the intent of the CIA. That's the intent of the Pentagon. At the end of the day, they want to foment trouble in this region. And the only way they can control a region is through chaos. Chaos is a theory that they have been working in all establishments. Look at what happened in Brazil. Look at the conversations that Mike Pence, a former employee of the United States Department, has been talking about. He's talking about how they used the telegram to control elections in certain nations. How they have used their own covert operations to get the former right wing Bolsonaro out to bring the new Brazilian president in place or the leader in place. So the fact of the matter is, the United States is feeling threatened by Russia and China. They're feeling threatened by India rising up as a superpower. They don't want a rising India. And because they don't want a rising India, they will foment trouble. Manipur will continue to escalate. They don't want peace in Manipur. There are certain sections of foreign powers that don't want peace in Manipur. Both China and the US don't want peace in Manipur. And they will use all their resources to foment trouble, to provide them with sophisticated weapons. In fact, if you look at the trouble happening in Jammu and Kashmir and the availability of advanced tech and weapons, you will see that there is a China hand in it. It's the same thing that will happen in Manipur. You will have China that will provide the weapons, the high end thing, including while they do have the weapons that were robbed from the armory, there will also be sophisticated weapons that will be used as this crisis gets extended. Therefore, it is important for people in Manipur, whether you're a Meitei, whether you're a Kuki, whether you're a Naga, whether you're from any community, to remember that the unity of Manipur depends on every single community. The division that they want to create, the division that they want to create is further getting intensified because you are not willing to believe in each other. And that is where the problem is. There is an intent, there is a huge foreign handshake. I've been saying this for the last 16 months that the situation in Manipur will not be resolved. For it to be resolved, some drastic steps have to be taken by the government in order to bring about a change. The first change, which has not yet happened completely, is ensuring that all the weapons that were looted get confiscated and get back to the armory. That has not happened till now, so people have weapons. There are people who are becoming victims to extortionists. Whether you're Kuki or Meitei does not matter at all. What were supposedly dead insurgents or terror groups have now become active in Manipur. They want a Kashmir-like situation in Manipur. So you have Kashmir and Jammu flaring up right now. You have Manipur flaring up right now. You have China providing the weapons. You have CIA controlling the narrative. We are looking at a very tumultuous times ahead over the next 12 months. There is an effort to push for a regime change, and that is why the US administration is meeting with opposition leaders. And Rahul Gandhi will meet those leaders in the US to ensure that the strategy gets firmed up.
Lot of things happening, but I'm most pained by what is happening to my friend Savio. Savio, are you able to walk properly now?
Well, I have a brace, so there is a bit of a limp. There is a
So
bit of a
here's
limp, but
so sorry to I just want to highlight this. You know who is in power in Goa? BJP. Has the chief minister or anybody from their office spoken to you? Have they acted upon the people who tried to run you down?
well, the investigations are going on right now, Sree. But to be honest, see, that's I have not been so bothered about what has happened or what will happen to me. What is important is the information that one is putting out. Okay, we have been mapping these trends for a very long time. Whether the attack on me was deliberate or whether it was not is insignificant to the larger interest at hand. The larger interest at hand is what is the game being played with India and what is it that we as citizens of India must do. And I'm appealing to every single citizen of India, irrespective of whether you're a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, or a Sikh, that it is nationalism that is the prerequisite of any citizen in this country. Now, here is the interesting bit. In Davos, George Soros pledged 1 billion US dollars to fight nationalism. The country with the strongest aura and energy of nationalism is India. And that is what George Soros wants to fight because he knows when people think and put nation first, it is very difficult to break them. Just like in an army is about nation first. In the armed forces, it's about nation first, not about a political party, not about political leaders, not about your religion, not about your caste. It's about the country. And that is what George Soros wants to break. And I'm saying this over and over again. These are not conspiracy theories. If they were conspiracy theories, then Sheik Hasina wouldn't have been thrown out of a government because she was a government in power, elected into power, back into power. That is the reality. And the reality in India is either you co-opt yourself to the deep state, which Narendra Modi is not going to do, then there is an imminent threat for a regime change, and we need to work towards thwarting it because the US is very clear about one thing. that they have to be the big brother of all the countries in the world, even though they are currently going extremely down economically. Right now, you have China that has lent almost $859 billion to the US. But it is not China that is the highest, it is Japan that has given them 1.1 trillion US dollars. And more importantly, the debt of the US economy currently is 4.3 trillion US dollars. So you have a country, that's the US, that is borrowing a whole lot of money from other stronger countries, but yet it wants to play big brother. So there's a very vicious game going on. In fact, if you look at it very closely, China and Russia, though they are making their moves, they are watching the folly of the United States. And I'm quite happy about it. Because if the United States thinks it can bring a regime change in India, they are completely mistaken. It is not going to happen without us fighting back.
I have some information here about what has been happening with Japan and as well as Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. There are a couple of news items that I'm going to add this, viewers. See here, Japan just sold all of US Treasury and debt. Japan has sold all of its US Treasury and debt. Following that, Saudi Arabia has also just sold all of its US Treasury and debt. Viewers, countries are essentially selling off what they had by way of US treasuries. These are supposed to be one of the safest instruments that you could keep. So US is basically flailing now. That's all I can say, because Japan is a very big number. China has been withdrawing in 100 billion there, 200 billion there, and people try to explain it off saying they need dollars to import the raw materials, which they can finish and sell as finished goods, and they make the money back. But Japan pulling out, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia doing it. These two links, I'm going to send it. Viewers, we'll put it in the reference link section. Do watch it to understand the import of these things. A lot of things are happening. The United States is going down the wrong path. But who is in control? Nobody knows. 16 days. Joe Biden is on vacation. Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
How can a president of a country be on vacation for 16 days? And Kamala Harris, God only knows what she is doing. And this has not been Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway sells more Bank of America. So a lot of stuff is happening right now. And it is very imminent that in US stock market is going to correct itself 25% below, 30%. I don't know. But everybody is saying that this is overheated and it is going to fall. Once that happens, bye-bye Democrats. Doesn't matter what Trump says or does, your goose is truly cooked. So that's why this desperation to try and move all these things in such a quick amount of time. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell that a lot of things are happening. By the way, I have one more thing to add before we take up questions from our viewers. In fact, we don't have a lot of questions. I have one thing to add. Viewers, just hours ago, there was a huge raid by the Chennai police on a university campus and a residential complex right across there, where 600 apartments are there and close to 540 are being used by students. This is the place where the drugs come in, and then from there it gets distributed all the way to India, or at least to South India, and also goes to Rameshwaram, and then from there to Sri Lanka and so on. Big drug bust going on. Interestingly, Stalin is now in the United States, and so very interesting how this has come about when he is not there. Was he basically trying to stop it? I'm not trying to connect the two dots. This involves national security, and you can see West Bengal is a fit case for president's rule. I would say Manipur is fit case for president's rule, and Tamil Nadu, and perhaps even Punjab, because Punjab is where the entry point still is. By the way, this is all mostly crystal meth, Savio. It's not even opium. India thought it had destroyed the opium crop in Manipur as well as in Afghanistan, but now crystal meth is taking front and center. So, and where does the crystal meth come from? China. And this is the problem even US is battling with right now. Fentanyl, which is one of the very highly toxic products, which can kill in 18 months, is being mixed with other drugs in small doses, and these other drugs can lead you to basically death. A lot of things are happening, not just the youth of India, but also the youth of United States. And US wants to bring about a regime change in India. What? I don't understand. You got a bigger problem, China. I don't understand this. Anyway, Savio, if you want to add something to that, please go ahead. Then we can take some questions. You're muted. I can't hear you. He'll be right back. And in the meantime, if you have not subscribed to our channel, there's a tool that we give. Download our app, 𝗣𝗚𝘅 app, for Android or iPhone. And then from there, you can auto subscribe to our channels. You can also do it from our website, and that would help us get more subscribers. Last couple of months have been pretty bad in terms of like engagement and traffic, and this is not your fault. You just are not getting the notifications, so you probably are not aware. Say something, Savio.
Something.
Yeah. Over to you.
So one of the things that's going to be playing out in the next couple of months is the effort towards de-dollarization. Now, the BRIC summit, which is going to be held shortly, one of the major focus in the BRIC summit is going to be de-dollarization. Why is this going to happen? See, countries all over the world want to break away from the shackles of the United States. The United States is a sinking ship. As long as they continue to have the kind of intent that the deep state and Pentagon and the State Department currently have with the rest of the world, with this big brother intent, they are actually going to fall flat in the years ahead. And the world is now coming together around what is disturbing them the most is that India is asserting itself globally. India is not choosing sides between the US or Russia or China. India is saying, I am India. I can choose my friends. I can choose the ones I don't want to be friends with. I don't have to be enemies with anybody. But I will do everything in the interest of India. And I believe that's the right way to go ahead. And that is why this particular stand of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is irking the US administration, saying, why are you getting close to Russia? Why are you allowing your relationship or your friendship to develop with China? That is disturbing them. And that is why we need to be able to understand that the US is a dying horse. It is going to go through a slow death, and recession will be a reality in the US. But if they interfere with India, they are going to face even worse trouble, because India is not going to face that trouble. There will be people who want to create protests, they will want to do a regime change, but India will prevail and India will rise as Bharat.
Thank you so much. And let's take
No
some
matter
questions
what
now,
they
please.
do.
Thank you so much. Let's take some questions now, please.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm doing a bunch of things. I said something and I wanted the reference links to be put in the video description section so you can find it and read more about it. Lot of stuff happening, guys. Manov-san wants to know, Article 1 of US Constitution says only US Congress has the right to make war. NED was created under Reagan to bypass Article 1 with regime change game. But is it being used even to subvert US internally?
I cannot tell you what's happening to US internally. I can tell you what NED is doing externally to further US state administration intent and Pentagon intent. See, eventually it's all about the military industrial zone or group that is interested in fomenting trouble, because let's face it, arms and ammunition and technology is really the business of United States, nothing else.
Next one, please. Savio ji, Maithili ji wants to know, why is it that Modi has not visited Manipur at all?
Well, I don't have an answer to that, and I've been praying and hoping and petitioning that he visits Manipur, because I believe that if he visits Manipur, he will be able to speak to both the Kukis, the Meiteis, and every single community in Manipur. And the reality of peace, the division, will see some balance coming after he visits.
Next question, please. Himanshi Mahajan wants to know, why is the government silent on this whole plan to orchestrate regime change in India? Why no one questions Rahul Vinci's numerous attempts of spreading misinformation?
I don't think the government is not aware. The government is very aware. I think they've got a strategy in place, and the strategy is being played out. We might not see it at this point of time as lay people, but I believe there is a strategy in place. See, eventually it's about balance. Geopolitical and statecraft is about a balance. We will take one step forward and two steps behind, or take two steps forward and one step behind. That is what statecraft is all about. And the Indian intelligence, whether it's external or internal, are very, very adept in what their roles are. You only know about RAW and IP, but there are several other intelligence smaller units that are meant to do what they are meant to do. And if America even attempts a regime change in India, which they are trying, then America will have to deal with the consequences.
Actually, I should add a couple of things to what Savio just said. Bangladesh has unpaid bills of close to $2 billion to electricity providers. And it's just a matter of time before the electricity is going to be cut off because of unpaid bills. If that happens, Bangladesh is going to plunge into darkness. Next, cotton exports from India has stopped. Complete seal. Border is sealed now. No cotton going in. Today, I'm hearing that there was a diesel pipeline that was coming from Siliguri for the cotton mills. If you don't have diesel, guess what? You have no electricity, then no diesel to run your generators. What are you going to do? Go back to Stone Age? Bangladesh is getting the message loud and clear. You touch another Hindu, you have it, guys. This is becoming big. And I tell you again, US made a huge mistake. It was the ant that created the anthill, which is the regime change in Bangladesh, but the snake is getting in and driving the ants out. This is what is happening today. And this is my conjecture. Prove me wrong. So all these things are happening unnecessarily. US has got into this mess, and I don't think they are going to get any island. Just watch how long Mr. Yunus will last. Anyway, this is just my 2 cents.
I'm convinced about one thing, Sree, and I want to tell the people of India, as somebody who understands what is going on globally, geopolitically, do not underestimate the intent of the Prime Minister of this country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You have no idea about the assets that we have in the world and the amount of work that we can get done in a very strategic, subtle, and assertive way. We don't have to be loud and obvious. Let me explain what I'm saying. When the US diplomats make it a point to get covered in newspapers that they are visiting opposition leaders, their intent is to send a message to India that we will pull the rug under your feet, see what we are doing. We Indians are not foolish. The Indians who work on statecraft are not foolish. We understand that. We know the intent. You want to play statecraft games with us, we will play statecraft games with you. And you won't like it because you don't know how deep our tentacles are.
Next one, please. Anand Gopalan wants to know, Savio, how long does Mohd Yunus run Bangladesh listening to his masters? A time will come and he'll become a slave of the elements he let loose.
Of course, without a doubt. He's already become a slave of them.
Didn't you see the Jamaat press conference,
removed the
Anand
ban on
Gopalan?
Jamaat-e-Islamiya.
Yeah.
He's let the Al-Qaeda go loose. He is already, see, you cannot control the beast of Islamic radicalism. US has failed to control. US in most cases has funded the beast of Islamic radicalism, and it's come and bitten them so many times back, but they never listen and they never learn. But that is US's problem. Our concern is India. Let me give you an example. Everybody was talking about Maldives, the Maldives Prime Minister president, sorry, was talking very, very aggressively about India. Have we not tamed him now? So don't underestimate the people who work in the interest of the country. Like I have said before, not every soldier wears a uniform. And there are soldiers working for this country, outside the country and inside the country.
Next question, please. Srikant Iyer wants to know, Sree Iyer sir, even if Trump comes back to power, can he make America great again? Srikant, it's a little difficult. A lot of stuff has come undone. For example, 8 to 15 million illegals came in the last 4 years alone. How are you going to track them? How are you going to deport them? And deport them where? Why should the US taxpayer bear the money to send him back to the country, which he will not even say which country he is from, because he has already destroyed his papers upon the advice of somebody saying that if you don't have papers, you have a better chance of getting residency and perhaps even citizenship in the United States. So the US has a problem on its hands. It needs to go and create some sort of a refugee enclave outside of US, perhaps along the border with Mexico, and systematically take them out. That was one thing that Trump was very successful in. In his 4-year term, illegal immigration was at an all-time low. All-time low. So that is a given. He is going to act on that for sure. But what about other things? Today, even building 20, 40-foot walls is not enough, because a lot of things are being done using drones and other high-tech devices. They know, for example, where the patrolling unit is along the border. So when the patrolling unit is in one corner, they try to sneak in from the other corner. A lot of things have changed. It is not so easy. At the same time, the effort that needs to be put in is not there in Democrats. The Democrats are basically, I won't say anything more. I have very low opinion of them right now, the way they have gone about doing things. Whatever it is, these regime changes are being attempted now because the Democratic Party, including the people in Department of State, they know that the time is ticking. The time is ticking because they don't have a lot of time left. They cannot do these things once there is a regime change. And in fact, some of the things that they did, sleight of hand stuff, that may even lead to inquiries and what have you, I don't know. So this is a very difficult time for United States also, with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia pulling out its US treasury. That's a big number. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, Japan had 1 trillion. 1 trillion. And if they have completely taken that out, I think India has about 275 billion. When India gave that money, my recollection is during that 2008 crisis, right? When they had this banks all, getting they were trying to put the money back in quantitative easing. At that time, basically, US went about telling all countries, you need to put some money into the treasury to build confidence for the whole world, blah, blah, blah. I think India put 275 billion, if I remember correctly. 275 billion. I mean, somebody should look at it and see how much money is left. And well, I am a United States person. I will get hurt because of all these things. I just checked the stock market. It is still up today, but I don't know. It's going to turn down very, very fast. And brace yourself for the impact, guys. If the US stock market falls, then Democrats are done. Doesn't matter what happens after that. Already the assassination attempt has dented their chances greatly. And this is going to be the last nail in the coffin. Let's take the next $233 billion. That's what India has put in the US Treasury. Thank you. So let's take the next question. Navlesh Yadav, thank you so much. Next one, please. NN wants to know, sir, Modiji is doing fence sitting. Chanakya principle, he'll keep defending until absolutely must get aggressive at the right time. Is the right time already arrived? Thoughts? This is for you, Savio.
Okay, so for somebody who has been working very strategically with the party as well as with the government, let me tell you, and I'm saying this out of knowledge that I have, that yes, there are certain steps that the government may have taken that may not make sense to any of us. But in the long run, there is no fence sitting going on. There is no, it's not like we are being non assertive. what we are doing is being strategic. And right now, it is not a war situation that we demand. Right now, the strategy that is being adopted is to make friends that will rely on us and deal with enemies. So let me explain this to you in a very simple strategy that was adopted or spoken about in the movie The Godfather. You keep your friends close, you keep your enemies closer. So what you might think is a spin happening in mainstream media may not be the real intent of the Indian government. Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, and the team, particularly the intelligence network, is abreast of what is happening. Yes, you might think it's bureaucratic, you know, troubles and time lapses, but there is no such thing as that. And I gave you an example, which is Maldives. Maldives was heightened as far as their aggression towards India is concerned. It was not so much the stoppage of tourism to Maldives that impacted them. Yes, it was, but not so much. What impacted them was the fact that they owed India money and they had to pay us back. So, right now, we have tamed the Maldivian president. Look at the economy of Maldives. Look at it. Read a couple of articles in the newspapers 2 days ago, and you will realize what is happening in Maldives. And if countries like Maldives fall prey to a debt, they're finished. That's why they need people like India. So while one was aggressive, while one is with China, we are trying to make peace with the rest of the Indian subcontinent region, in the Indian Ocean region. That is how we will assert our power. So please have faith in Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government. We might not understand it right now. We might get angry. I get angry too. Like I have said it openly, and I still don't understand why Prime Minister Narendra Modi has not gone to Manipur. But I'm sure there is a reason, and that strategy will play out in the days ahead.
Next question, please. Ashish Jain, thank you so much. Modi is bending and compromising. He is losing the grip. I strongly feel Amit Shah is really bad HM. That's why all this is not being managed toughly.
Well, I can't really comment on that. I can only tell you what I know. And I do know that efforts are being made. Let me give you an example. Now, you could look at Manipur and say, let's do something very aggressive, let's do something very assertive. But your people having problem in Manipur are both your people, whether they are Kukis or they are Meiteis or the Nagas. There are insurgent groups or terror groups working using those identities. Are you aware that both the terror groups, whether they are Kukis or Meiteis, or even the insurgent groups that are Nagas, are actually funded by China? So there is a game going on. We have to be able to take out the innocent citizens that are ours and deal with the terror groups and the insurgent groups with a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of prudence. You cannot go about doing it in a ad hoc manner or a haphazard manner. So trust the government and trust the people who are experts in that to do it. And all I can say is pray for Manipur, because what you need is reconciliation in Manipur, where both communities can sit together on the table and at least have a peace talk.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's the last question we had. Thank you so much, Savio. And we will be monitoring this very closely. We'll have Savio back again. He has written an excellent article today about how high-tech weapons are being used in Jammu and Kashmir to subvert the democracy there. And in fact, I was always for not conducting elections at this point of time. It's a moot point. It's a union territory, union administered territory. Why? What difference does it make to have an assembly or not? People may differ with me on that, but it's like Delhi, not a lot of power, and basically what power they'll get, what little they'll abuse it, whoever comes to power. This is just my 2 cents. Thank you so much, Savio, and please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, viewers. Namaskar, and we'll see you again very soon.
God bless. Bye-bye.